Hi guys, welcome to ITAGIYP's new video. This is for the procedural weapon generation system, also known as Is That a Gun in Your Pocket? With this system, with this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to get the procedurally generated values to integrate with your weapon system. Because let's face it, if you can't shoot bullets but you can make guns, it's not much use to anybody, is it? So, let's get ready to blow stuff up. The main thing is what we're doing is we're calling the function to fire from our player like we normally would. So, and this is on the hosted weapon in the hand. So this one is called the weapon generator. So inside here, this is where the magic happens. So if we look at the BP weapon generation master, now this is the main file, the main blueprint for the creation of the meshes. If you see here, class on the parent, I've set it to the BP Procedural Weapons weapon logic example. Now this is the framework for your line trace, your projectiles and everything. The actual gun mechanic that's going to fire the bullets and make your game actually be able to shoot folk. So what this does is it allows us to inherit all of the custom events and functions from the parent, and then we can call them and populate them with information such as damage, range, weapon class, all these sort of things. So let's have a look. If we go in here, now you can see here I'm calling this custom event from the procedural weapons weapon logic example, and I've exposed some values to be populated. A couple of vectors, a string, damage and range. Now we get the active barrel, pass this forward for the active barrel name and the muzzle location, just in case we need to distinguish between the two. Special, this is the line trace or the projectile parameters that have been created from the data tables. Damage, range. Now these are just a few examples. You can pass as many as you want through into your final program. You can customize it as well as you see fit. So with doing this, what we would do is now we've gone into the procedural weapons weapon logic example. That's located just here in the same folder. So we'll just open her up. So the custom event that triggers your firing, whether it be the bullet or the projectile, this is where we add the inputs. The inputs are then able to be reflected in the new child object, the procedural weapons logic example. Nope. In the new child object, BP weapon generator master. My apologies for that. So what's going to happen here is if we add these values in, instead of you having to re-rummage your entire game mechanic around, you can just pull off from here and go set damage. Don't worry about that, just pretend that's a value that you can use. Bring in your set value and then just pipe in the damage value into your game, the damage value that you have for your game logic on this one here, the weapon logic example or your game framework, any of the other values, and that'll just populate them as they're already set in your mechanic, so they won't have to be altered later on. They're just populated live on demand, and so there's no issues. The other way you can do it is what I've got in this example, is everything just pipes through, straight through, unless it's used. This goes on to the next level to go from server to clients, and then from multicast, and everything just gets pushed through from one onto the next, which if you've got an existing game mechanic, it's not the best way for you to do it. The best way would be for you to set your parameters as soon as you can on the call that executes on server, just here, or your equivalent. So that's nice and simple. So basically, to summarize, procedural weapon is a child of your gun mechanic. And inside the when the fire is triggered, you want to call the fire function, and then you would call the custom events here, and then just populate the values to allow the weapon to inherit those, the weapon to be generated or to use the appropriate settings. Cool. Now it gets a little bit funky here. We've got projectiles. We're using expose on spawn on projectiles, which is a little bit more complex. So we have a generic blueprint for projectiles, which has the ability to use whatever functions and parameters we've set. I've set the same as I had on Dent, damage, radius and strength, but for me I've just set them on this one as just damage. Rocket mesh, rocket impact and rocket trail, impact, emitter and projectile. So I've just passed these through. What happens here is the mesh, impact and trail and the damage. You could set stuff like speed and velocity and weight and things like that if you really wanted to. That gets passed through to the projectile blueprint, which then just creates the appropriate mesh in place with the appropriate particle and trail, and this is all populated automatically from the on the creation of the projectile. So just in case you need to make any changes to this, to expose on spawn, you would create your variable, your value, and then make sure the instance is editable, and if you tick this box here under details, expose on spawn. That'll mean when you go to call, if you see here, the spawn actor projectile, you'll be able to add a new value in here. So I'll just show you an example. So we'll just add a boolean for new variable 0 is editable, expose on spawn, save, compile, boom, pop. There we go. We've got another variable in here we can call and control as soon as the projectile spawned. Okay, so guys, any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Opinions, tell me what you think. Reach out to me on Discord. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If there's anything you want me to go into further, just give me a shout on one of the support channels and I'll help you out as best I can. Alright, thanks very much guys. Speak to you soon.